Okay, and I'm live. Hey, well, this is my first interactive presentation or first interactive lecture that I'll be doing live on these platforms. The vehicle I'm using is um, StreamYard because that seems to be the prevailing application and it seems to work very well. So I started an account with it. Um, I'm going to beg your indulgence a little bit because I am very, very new to this live streaming. I used to stream on Facebook, but this is the first time that I'm going to be streaming to three platforms: my Facebook page, my Facebook profile, as well as YouTube. And I'm hoping it's getting through. I'm going to be looking around this thing so I can see. Hold on a second. I can't. I got one comment. Oh, okay. That was a comment from StreamYard to me. Okay. I think that we should get started. This first interactive video presentation is one that I gave a couple of years ago to a to Penn State University. Well, not to the entire body of Penn State University, but with a colleague of mine, one of my cohorts in my doctoral program, who was teaching in Penn State, and who asked me to do a presentation for her prospective teachers, and I agreed. Now, this presentation is not for the faint of heart. I am going to need you to really put on your critical thinking caps because there are a lot of concepts, ideas, context for you to consider very carefully. This is not necessarily college level, so you don't have to feel like, oh my God, I need a degree to understand this. No, 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 no. I always make sure that I present in such a way that we can all understand it. Okay? The title of this presentation is very appropriate because it is the jumping off point for future uh, video interactive uh, lectures and seminars. And by interactive, I mean after this seminar is over, after this lecture is over, I am open to any and all kinds of questions that you may have. What I'd like you to do now, if you're on YouTube, like this video. I can't tell because I'm not on YouTube. I'm on StreamYard, and I haven't yet learned how to get into the YouTube sphere from here. But I want you to like this video. I want you to share this video among your friends and anybody that you think will benefit from it. Now, for my Facebook viewers, I want you to like and share this video. Okay? All right. Now, the title of this is called Race as Color, Race as Character, Racism, and White Supremacy. The distinction of color as a measure of value. Now, I want you to pay very, very close attention to the term value within the context of this lecture. Okay? Okay. Now, there are two people in here that I can see from this live video. So, having two people in here, I would expect to see two likes. Okay? Just hit that like button. It's free. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to begin Bear with me now. Bear with me because I'm getting ready to present. Okay? All right. I hope you can see this. This is entitled Racist Color, Racist Character, Racism, and White Supremacy. For those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Cynthia Elise Smith, and I am an anti racism, anti white supremacy educator and essayist, specializing in essays and presentations with alternative views on race, race as color, race as character, and white supremacy. Now, I hope you can hear me. I'm just finished putting this microphone up to my face like I have since. I don't know why I had it so far down. I offer deeper, more critical perspectives on these subjects, including the potential implications of racialized wording in the U.S. language lexicon that are not ordinarily considered. Now, I'm not here to change any minds, but I am here to separate the superficial from the serious. And I'm here to make you think critically about the subject matter I'm about to present. As you critically think, perhaps you will begin to change your own mind. Understand that this presentation is designed to make you think, but it may not be comfortable for some of you. Here are some important things to consider. Before I begin, you will need 3 critical thinking tools to use throughout this presentation. I call them the 3 C's of navigating through the language system of racism and white supremacy. First one is comprehension. This is the most important because it is the essence of understanding what you are saying, being told, writing, or reading, or the ability of one's mind to form and craft imagery and concepts from the words. Context. Second to comprehension, but only in its numerical designation and not importance, is the ability to understand the circumstances that form the setting for an event, statement, or idea, and in terms through which it can be fully understood and assessed. It's context. And the third and final is connotation. Not in the least, but the last of the 3 is the ability of the words to summon emotion or an idea or feeling that a word invokes in addition to its literal or primary meaning. Let me say that again. It is the ability of the words to summon emotion, an idea or feeling that a word invokes in addition to its literal or primary meaning. Connotation is particularly important because it is the feeling of the words. It is the expressive part. It is that part of the words, sentences, and paragraphs from thought which create the drama and cause people to react happily, sadly, violently, or otherwise. Let me begin by telling you what this presentation is not about. This presentation is not about the debate over the existence of race, racist color, racist character, racism, and white supremacy, although debates do exist, and I will touch on these subjects here. In order to comprehend what this presentation is about, we are considering the context of these terms and their connotations as already existing, and existing specifically in the United States of America. I'm not talking about the UK. I'm not talking about any part of Europe. I'm not talking about Africa. I'm not talking about any place in this world but the United States of America. This is important to comprehend at the outset, since every one of you will need to put on what I call your conscious white thinking caps. And when I say that, I'm using that term white loosely because we, as Black people who are watching this or listening to this, understand white, or should by this time. I need you to put on your white lenses periodically throughout. And please note that any European references I use here today are meant to establish the framework for what eventually arrived in the United States of America from Europe. This presentation will be taken from excerpts from my book, White Supremacy in the Post-Racial Colorblind Era, Exploring Visible and Invisible Whiteness in the United States, an unbleached, unbooked look. For purposes of this presentation, these are the definitions of race, race as color, race as character, racism, and white supremacy that we'll be using. Race. Any one of the groups of that humans are often divided into based on physical traits regarded as common among people of shared ancestry. Race is color. Color used to distinguish a race of people. Race as character. The character used to distinguish a race of people. Racism. And now, this is very important for you to understand. You need to understand what the system of racism means. The system of racism is the systematic subjugation within established institutions in the United States through structurally designed discrimination and denial of opportunity, equality, and justice built into every institution in this country to control the formerly enslaved and their descendants in perpetuity after the enslavement ended. This is so important for you to understand. Just as the enslavement was hereditary for us, the system of racism that came later is hereditary for us. Think Jim Crow on steroids and existing throughout the country, not just the South. White supremacy. White supremacy is the ideology using the color white and whiteness as a value and merit metric, where superiority and goodness aligns with the color white, and the color black and blackness are aligned as bad or inferior, each having been assigned generations ago to skin pigmentation. Are you thinking? I hope you're thinking. Remember to hit the like if there are any other people on here. Hit the like button. That is free. It takes less than a nanosecond to do. And share this with your friends. Share this with people that you think need to understand. Share this with people who you are family with. Just share and like. Thank you. Whiteness. A lot of people wonder what this is. Well, I'll tell you. Whiteness is the theory that skin pigment or the assignment of the color white to imply skin color grants the individual with certain natural rights and privileges. The indoctrinated perception is of complete sovereignty over and above anything else on the planet Earth. And finally, value. And this is what is very, very important to understand within the context of color. It is the desirability of a thing, often in respect of some property, which is such as usefulness or exchangeability, worth, merit, or importance. Now, while this presentation intends to delve into the terms race, racist color, racist character, racism, and white supremacy, it is ultimately about value. Value has an intrinsic association with the terms race, racist color, racist character, racism, and white supremacy because value is the codifier, that which codifies or organizes those terms, providing both context and connotation for each. But why value? Why value? Why is value so important to these issues? Because value relates to importance. It denotes and connotes worth and usefulness, as in the worth of something, or as you will see, in somebody. Let me explain using two common words in the lexicon of race, which is minority and majority. They appear to have no value other than numeric in US culture or even in the world outside of the system of racism. The nation's democratic belief in majority rule is rooted within the numerical value of people in American politics, where the numerical minority, I mean, where the numerical majority in terms of political power rules. Let me repeat that. The nation's democratic belief in majority rule is rooted within the numerical value of people in American politics, where the numerical majority in terms of political power rules. Now, we can all agree with that. In the US, we have come to believe the only significant value in these two terms are numeric, as in the counting of people in groups, right? Even when differentiating white from non white, the words minority and majority are used to denote a numerical value. Now, I got something for you. Pay very close attention because, and use those three C's: context, comprehension, connotation, because this is so important to understand the real meaning of these two words in a racialized lexicon in America. Okay? Even when differentiating white from non white, the words minority and majority are used to denote a numerical value. However, once applied within the context of whiteness and the system of racism, once viewed through the lens of white supremacy, The value of these words literally changes, and one's comprehension of those words changes. And why? Because the connotations of the words change. If one were to dissect the root of minority to the word minor, the synonyms would be slight, small, unimportant, insignificant, inconsequential, inconsiderable, of little account, peripheral, subsidiary, negligible, trivial, trifling, paltry, and petty. They come into piercing focus. Conversely, the root words of majority, the root word of majority being major, would be crucial, vital, great, considerable, paramount, utmost, prime, extensive, important, serious, or significant. Now, in determining how the roots of these words change context with the addition of the suffix ity, now I'm not giving you an English lesson, but you do need to understand how these endings on root words affect the definition, the meaning, the context, the connotation, and how you comprehend it. Okay, so when you add the addition of the suffix ity, which is an instance or degree of a quality or condition, as in a state of being something. You know, we are human beings. This means this is our state of being, is human. Okay, all right, I don't want to digress. When you change it, as in a state of being, it forms a noun of the two root words. Now we know nouns are persons, places, and things. So it can and must be concluded that in a racialized America, when people consider themselves by the term minority, or identify themselves as minority, which we do, minorities, and you don't see any pushback when Black people call themselves minorities. Okay, when the ity is placed on the word minor, which I told you what those things mean: petty, trifling, paltry, petty, inconsequential, insignificant, unimportant. When you put that ity at the end of that root word minor, you get a person, place, or thing. So when you call yourself a minority, the value, what is actually being read, said, written, or heard, is the value of the minority person as what? As a euphemism for slight, small, unimportant, insignificant, inconsequential, inconsiderable, of little account, peripheral, subsidiary, negligible, trivial, trifling, paltry, and petty. By contrast, the euphemism for the value of the majority person, remember, ity on the end of that root word makes it a noun, which is what? A person, place, or thing. So when you think in terms of the majority and the majority person and majority as a whole, becomes ruled by persons who are crucial, vital, great, considerable, paramount, utmost, prime, extensive, important, serious, or significant. Moreover, its numerical significance is lost altogether. You don't think about the numerical value when you have made the word a person. So the numerical significance is lost altogether and becomes the ity and the noun, which is degree or quality or condition and state of being of the referenced person. So I want you to think about that when you call yourself a minority in this country again. Consider this term value and how it is represented as we progress further. Practically every expression of exceptionalism, superiority, prowess, or tradition, any successful conquest of land or body, and the singular responsibility for all the achievements of mankind on earth in the U.S. was once prefaced with the words, the white man. Let me go back just a little bit, though, and go in here. Oh, yeah, I did do that. Okay. Was prefaced with the white man. Prior to 1963, and most specifically 1964, when the Civil Rights Act was signed, there was always reference to the white man. This phrase was used liberally throughout the country for hundreds of years. When, believe it or not, whiteness and the term white expressed as superior was actually a thing. It was a thing. It was a thing. We never hear the white man anymore, but I'll tell you, it was a thing back in the day. Let me take you through just a sample of white men in America's recent and not so recent history. Whiteness for Governor George Wallace of Atlanta was more than being a staunch segregationalist. He was whiteness personified. As author and playwright David McCary wrote in his article for the Huffington Post in January of 2018, Wallace was a crusader for whiteness, a champion of whiteness, a veritable Johnny Appleseed in the proliferation of whiteness. Of the many notable and highly white supremacist phrases Wallace was known for was for the mongrelization of the white race. That is one of his most inflammatory. Writing in an article for the ACLU entitled "It's Time to Tell the Truth About the Confederacy and Its Symbols," Jeffrey Robinson, ACLU Deputy Legal Director and Director of the Trone Center for Justice and Equality, recalled a statement made by Theodore Bilbo, a racist segregationalist and Mississippi senator from the years 1934 to 1947. Senator Bilbo was vehement on the importance in maintaining white supremacy in Mississippi, calling on his fellow men and declaring for every red-blooded white man to use any means to keep the niggers away from the polls. If you don't understand what that means, you are just plain dumb. You and I know what's the best way to keep the nigger from voting. You do it the night before the election. And you and I both know what that meant. I just dropped something. Sorry about that noise. Lester Maddox was an avowed racist and segregationalist, governor of Georgia from 1967 to 1971, and a rabid white supremacist. Known for his racist antics in front of television cameras, Maddox would swing his axe or bat in threatening gestures toward black people attempting to patronize segregated establishments or attending segregated schools. Maddox believed in the ideology of white supremacy and black inferiority and labeled any effort at integration as communist. So, just in case you wonder, when you hear the word communist batted about by white people who seem to think that this world is turning communist, what he is really saying is it is turning black. Here's an interesting person, Strom Thurmond. Senator Strom Thurmond was so fervently white supremacist and racist that he clocked the longest filibuster in the history of the Senate in opposition to the Civil Rights Act of 1957. Thurmond considered the effort as the final stand of the Dixiecrats against the shifting tide of the nation toward equality for Black people. All people of goodwill profess we are all human. We are all human beings in all the simplicity and complexity of our species. In fact, our common humanity is the first thing many well-intentioned people will declare when either consciously or unconsciously denying the reality of race as color, racist or racism. However, the thing the thing which actually changes the comprehension, context, and connotation of humans as beings and virtually initiates the separation of a human as a being is the word race. So, when did humans start identifying with race? Now, remember, I'm talking about in America. And when did the races become codified by skin color? Which means when was it organized? Organization. Okay, when was it organized, codified by skin color? There are several references available to describe the races of humans, even articles describing the differences between race and color. It all sounds very scientific and at this point in history, rather matter of fact. Why? Because it is understood that races exist even as they are not supposed to. The term, however, exists and has been successfully applied to all humanity. It is understood that there are colors within the races, and even within the races, that the colors of skin can vary significantly. It is also evident that color alone is not an accurate measurement for the race of an individual. Do you hear me? It is understood that there are colors within the races, and even within the races, that the colors of skin can vary significantly. It is also evident that color alone is not an accurate measurement for the race of an individual. Now, although having no truly accurate measurement for race, it was determined long ago that the offspring of Black and white parents were forever to be construed as black, using the generation's old one drop rule and the race of the mother. Hold on one secondo. All righty. In an article titled Why Do We Keep Using the Word Caucasian? Written by Yolanda Moses for the website Sapiens, she explained how German anatomist Johann Blumenbach characterized what he considered the four races. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, race had been roundly refuted by genetic studies educators and others as late as the 20th century. They bluntly agreed race was non existent as a biogenetical distinct as aspect of humanity, and that race was rather a cultural and social construct or intervention reflecting specific attitudes and beliefs that were imposed onto different populations. Let me repeat that again because I kind of stuttered a little bit. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, the term race had been roundly refuted by genetic studies educators and others as late as the 20th century. They bluntly agreed race was non existent as a biogenetically distinct aspect of humanity, and that race was rather a cultural and social construct or intervention reflecting specific attitudes and beliefs that were imposed on different populations, beginning in the 15th century through European conquests. It further stated the modern use of the word race began in the 17th century, and that today the term is also applied to ethnicities and linguistic groups. This is why some people misrepresent, or and no through no fault of their own, but they misrepresent Hispanic with a race. The term Hispanic only means speaks Spanish. Ethnicities, Puerto Ricans, Jamaicans, Germans. No, Germans are not ethnic. Ethnicities are more like Latino, Latina, and things of that nature. Race as color and character as art. In the beginning paragraph of an article called How Skin Color Became a Racial Marker, Art Historical Perspectives on Race, Anne Lafont, director of studies at the Center for History and Theory of the Arts in Paris, talked about an 18th century art theorist who described the color white as expressive of light and human intelligence. In Lafont's study, she sought to demonstrate how artistic production and discourse in the 18th century produced tools of observation and analysis that allowed human beings to be differentiated as well as implicitly classified on a moral scale, an enterprise that would later veer into explicit racism. In this statement, we can actually see a reference to the use of race as character, using the term morality as a measure. Taking excerpts from Francois Bernier, a Frenchman who she described as a physician, traveler, and man of letters, and who published a paper called New Division of Earth by the Different Species or Races of Men, Lafont explained that Bernier was the first to introduce the concept of partition by color of the diversity of human beings and segregated them into two distinctive groups, blacks and whites, popularizing the first concept of the black white binary, while purposefully abstracting those partitions that he created on a global scale into four or five groups and promoting a global categorization of human beings. He stressed the essentializing feature of blackness in the stabilization and naturalization process of Africans' alterity, or in lay terms, blackness as otherness. Okay, let me repeat that again because that might not have been clear. He stressed the essentializing feature of blackness in the stabilization and naturalization process of Africans as others. Lafont explained that the persistent option of race to label ethnic groups, or indeed to designate the human race in its entirety, in distinction to species of animals, illustrated a quasi logical progression of isolation, which was born out of the color of one's skin, texture and color of hair, and the shape of facial features. Then, after a tour in equatorial southwestern and northwestern Africa, W. Winwood Reade, an acknowledged collaborator and devotee of Charles Darwin, who wrote a book called Savage Africa, God forbid, anyway, Savage Africa. Mm-mm-mm. He wrote in the book, he wrote a prediction for Africa and Africans. Now, this was W. Winwood Reade. He was an acknowledged collaborator and devotee of Charles Darwin. And Winwood Reade wrote a book called Savage Africa. And this is what he stated in his book: England and France will rule Africa. Africans will dig the ditches and water the deserts. It will be hard work, and the Africans will probably become extinct. Remember, this was a few centuries ago. England and France will rule Africa. And they did for a while and still do in the minds and hearts of people through conditioning and indoctrination. Africans will dig the ditches and water the deserts. It will be hard work, and the Africans will probably become extinct. We must learn to look at the result with composure. It illustrates the beneficent law of nature. It illustrates the beneficent law of nature that the weak must be devoured by the strong. Lecturing on the aptitude of the races, Frederick William Farrar, an English writer, author, and noted philologist who undoubtedly understood the use of language and its connotations, placed the races into three distinct classifications: savage, all Africans, indigenous people of color, with the exception of the Chinese; semi civilized, Chinese, who were once civilized, but now the society was in arrested development. Bear with me, because when I read this before, I was completely professional, but this is my channel, and some of what I'm reading is just so ridiculous. I have to give it a bit of a chuckle, but okay. civilized European, Aryan, and Semitic peoples. Now, by Semitic peoples, he meant the people of northern Africa, not sub-Saharan Africa, like Egypt. James Cal Pritchard. James Cowles Pritchard. He was a British physician and ethnologist who was credited to have been one of the first to designate, quote, all human beings and ethnic groups to a single species, end quote. He created the concept of psychopathic personality disease as distinct. So we can credit James Cowles Pritchard as having created the concept of psychopathic personality disorder or disease as distinct. And he considered the savage races as inferior because of Darwin's theory of the fittest. He felt they could not be saved based on the law of nature. I hope you're still with me. I know it's a lot, but this is a lecture, and this even though I have written this, I am presented this as or am presenting this as non-college level. Uh it can be a bit much if you're not in it uh to learn something. So I hope that you are here with your critical thinking caps on, because I can't tell. I could be talking to the air. But in any event, this will be recorded and will be on my YouTube channel for anybody who might want to see this later. Okay? And if there are people in here, please hit the like button. It's free. It's free. Okay? All right. Racist color is best illustrated without even associating skin. I need you to understand this because there's so many people who just plain old attribute race as color as it. Okay, and why is such and such doing such and such? Their skin is okay. So you need to understand what is getting ready to happen. What I'm getting ready to explain now. Okay, so pay attention. Race as color is best illustrated without even considering or associating skin. A qualified correlation can be drawn from Lafont, where race as color was imitated within the artistic language of an enlightened Europe. Moreover, along with race as color, the idea of manifest destiny in relation to the right of ownership of the nation and the world, or the state of being and being the state of being white and superior, became more than just skin deep. It became its own ideology of whiteness. Whiteness is structured around the ideology of white supremacy, but people often get confused by the virtual colorlessness of whiteness as expressed today. Historically, it can be argued that just like the color white, whiteness was also a thing. Indeed, from the moment Black Africans were forced onto the land in Jamestown, Virginia in 1619, the whiteness of those in power over the skin of the inhabitants of the new land was already decidedly superior. Whiteness was truly a state of being supreme in the world and in the new America. The phrase state of being. Now, this is what people need to understand. I had a few people ask me, I don't quite understand what state of being means. I don't quite understand that. So you need to listen to this very carefully so you can understand. The phrase state of being is especially useful when engaging in discussions of whiteness outside of the physical skin distinctions of people who identify as white. Do you know what I mean when I say that? Because a lot of white people hear the word whiteness and they think you're talking about them as white skinned people. Okay. So the phrase state of being is especially useful when engaging in the discussion of whiteness outside of the physical skin distinctions of people who identify as white. In order to understand the phrase state of being within the context of whiteness, as more than color, however, requires breaking the term apart and defining both words, state and of being. According to Merriam-Webster, state means the condition of something, and being means the nature or essence of a person. The two definitions merge to mean the condition concerning the nature or essence of a person. Therefore, the term state of being relates to, I need you to pay close attention because I'm using the definitions. I'm not adding anything different. Therefore, the term state of being relates to the essence of the human and the condition of that essence in expressing its being. Therefore, whiteness, taken in tandem with the ideology of supremacy, means whiteness is the condition concerning the nature or essence of people being white, meaning whiteness is the condition concerning the nature or essence of people being white. I hope I've made that clear. If not, go through this again, this presentation again, and I guarantee you it will click. Okay? If a state of being means the essence, the nature or essence of a person, and state means the condition of something, then whiteness is the condition concerning the nature or essence of people, persons, being white. Being is the key word here. Because you don't necessarily, we already know that skin color varies so widely, as I discussed earlier, that you can't really tell a person's race anymore by the color of their skin. So a person must identify in their being as white in order for it to make sense to them in terms of race. If applying an inspiration such as this to the extent of value placed on whiteness as expressed by the dominant power in the early American colonies. It is easy to understand the significance of associating whiteness not only as an identifier of their shared skin or simply a distinction of color, but as an ideology of supreme birthright. Color being just one of many distinctions used to affirm their burgeoning philosophy. In essence, there was value. There's that word again. There was value assigned to whiteness as a state of being by virtue of having been assigned the color white to imply skin pigmentation. In Thomas Jefferson's note on the state of Virginia in 1853, he declared, "The improvement of the blacks in body and mind in the first instance of their mixture with the whites has been observed by everyone and proves that their inferiority is not the effect merely of their condition of life." He was basically saying there that it is their state of being. I advance it as a suspicion only that the blacks, whether originally a distinct race or made distinct by time and circumstances, are inferior to the whites in the endowments both of body and mind, and the slave, when made free, might mix with, without staining the blood of his master. But with us, a second is necessary, unknown to history. When freed, he has to be removed beyond the reach of mixture. In the early years of colonial America, there were no similarities among the wealthy landowners, poor whites, and white indentured servants. And a class caste structure was already set into place, subjugating them socially and economically. Although considered to be diverse due to general geographical regions, the caste structure was based upon the value of the individual in terms of their power, wealth, political, social, and religious statuses. The Southern gentry were few in number and were most powerful and the wealthiest. This class was comprised of powerful professions like doctors, ministers, lawyers, and merchants. In addition, the controllers of the courts and governments, architecture, and etiquettes of society were included in the gentry class. In the South, however, the masses of poor people with European ancestry were not part of the gentry class. In fact, people who lived in colonial America placed poor people in the lower class. This class included sailors, apprentices, laborers, servants, slaves, or wanderers, transients who went from place to place looking for work. Of special note is the fact that the enslaved were also part of the same class of people as apprentices, laborers, servants, wanderers, transients who went from place to find work. And yes, the enslaved were included as part of the lower class caste structure of the colonies and burgeoning states, along with people who, in the United States today, identify as the color white. Prior to 1667, proving one's conversion to Christianity could spell freedom for enslaved Africans, forming an even closer class connection with free whites. According to Ira Berlin, distinguished professor of history at the University of Maryland, there were a considerable number of Americans of European descent who were trapped in indentured servitude, who, like the enslaved, were treated poorly. Berlin, among others, believed Bacon's rebellion ultimately changed the way whiteness would be expressed among the lower and middle class white people toward black people. He explained, after Bacon's rebellion, they increasingly distinguish between people of African descent and people of European descent. They enact laws which say people of African descent are hereditary slaves. And they increasingly give some power to white independent farmers and landowners. Influenced attitudes of the white populations in all classes, but especially the lower class, by literally encouraging racial animosity of these people with shared pigmentations toward black people. Other important laws include provided additional distinctions, such as the difference between the white servant and the black slave. The Virginia Assembly enacted a law which prevented any black person from raising a hand to any white person. This law essentially provided impunity for lower class whites when abusing enslaved black people and stripped enslaved black people of any rights to self defense. It was, it was the fear of retribution and redistribution of wealth and power that began a feigned shared experience with the lower class, newly defined whites. The wealthy gentry offering land and a modicum of power over black people, not power over themselves. Even with this lie of camaraderie and shared likenesses, the idea of whiteness as superior forever changed the way whiteness would be expressed, both as a color distinction and an ideology of superiority among the lower and middle class white people toward black people generations later. Abraham Lincoln knew all too well about the assignment of the superior position of the white race by virtue by virtue of the assignment of the color white to human bodies. In fact, he said, and inasmuch as they cannot so live, while they do remain together, there must be the position of superior and inferior. And I, as much as any other man, am in favor of having the superior position assigned to the white race. Think about that. This is Abraham Lincoln, the one that our history books taught us was the savior of the enslaved. People, you got to keep coming back if you want to know what is going on today. If you want to know what's going on today, and the effect of what is going on today, and what I mean by that is looking back. You know, in some instances, you want to look forward, you want to forget. But in this instance, we can never not look back. We must look back in history. We must look back in history. I do have some, hold on one second. Let me check this thing here. I do have, there's something that I want to do. I want to give us 30 seconds intermission because I know this is a lot. I don't have that much more in this, but there is a lot, and there's a lot to digest. And there are four of you here. Um, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. After this, I will open up. I don't know how to do that. You know how they say drop that link. I don't know where the link is. I'm going to try to find it so that I can bring you up, and you, if you have questions, or you can just put questions in the chat. Just make sure you put a big question mark in there in the chat so that I'll know what you're asking. I think the chat is just I'm not quite sure where the chat's coming from. It may be coming from YouTube. So I don't know whether people on Facebook will be able to ask the questions. It's so difficult. I think more as I get involved in this more and more, I'll learn. I am a retired IT manager slash director. And so I do still have some of those skills, even though I am and I have been uh, retired since 2016. Okay, let me give us 30 minutes. I mean, 30 seconds to cleanse our minds a little bit because it was a lot. I know it's a lot. I do present a lot. Okay, we are back. I'm so glad the four people that are here are still here. I don't know who you are yet. I haven't really looked at the comments yet, but I will after the after it is over. And I hope that you are enjoying it, and I hope that you are learning something. I hope that what you get out of this is something you didn't know, because um there's a lot. There's a lot. Okay, let's go back and I will hold on one second. I hit another button. I hope to God it's not okay, good. It didn't do anything. Good. All right. Alexander Stevens, president of the new Confederate government upon which they were staking their lives. Let me read that again, because I got a little, I read it wrong. Let me start over. Alexander Stevens, vice president of the new Confederate government upon which they were staking their lives, yep, okay, was built on their conception of moral, physical, and philosophical truth about whiteness vis-a-vis blackness. And vis-a-vis means as compared to blackness. It can never be understated that the entire significance of one's self as a Confederate was built on the premise that our government is founded upon exactly the opposite idea to that of the United States Constitution. Its foundations are laid, its cornerstone rests upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery, subordination to the superior race is his natural and normal condition. This, our new government, is the first in the history of the world based upon this great physical truth. And the Negro is not equal to the white man. That slavery, subordination to the superior race condition. The value of the colors, black and white, inside and outside of white supremacy. Now, you have to pay attention of this, because through this you will gain such a wealth of information and understanding about this whole binary, black and white, and the value of the colors and why they are represented as such and why people were assigned those colors. When examining the value of in the color of the word black or white, it is apparent that color is a valuable tool for identification, codification, distinction, and characterization of just about everything, including the skin of human beings. However, the question of the value these words hold beyond the broad context of racialized words outside the areas of race, racism, and white supremacy has probably not been considered to a degree past the brazenness of the colors themselves. White supremacy practically demands the use of color as a means of identification and separation. The fact that the color, now I need you to understand this. I need you to hear this, because we're talking about words and the connotations of words and the context of words so that you can comprehend these words, because this is what we are ultimately talking about, the value of these words. Hear me. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. And also, please share this video. I know it's probably, I don't have that much more on this video. It's almost over. And so it probably wouldn't make sense to share it live, but please do find it and share it on YouTube when it reaches YouTube as a recorded presentation. And ask your friends to share, and ask your family to share, and ask them to like it. That is going to be the only way I'm going to be able to reach an audience. And I want to say this at the outset. I'm not here to monetize this channel. I'm retired. I'm comfortable. I don't have to work. I don't need part-time work, which is why there's such a distance between when I write my essays and when I do my presentations, at least so it has been, because I do it when I am inspired, not because I have to, or not because I just want to be in front of any camera or anything like that. And I'm not saying that to say that anybody does it because of those things. I'm just saying that this is me. This is what I do. And yes, I do have a Cash App. And after this, I will be placing it on the bottom as a feed. So if you want to do that, that's fine, but it's not required. It's just everybody's doing it. So I might as well put it there. You don't have to do it. But likes are important. Likes and subscribe to my channel. Those things I understand from other content creators is what is most important because of the algorithms. And I do understand what algorithms are because I had that devilish, fiendish course in my undergrad work, my information technology undergrad, my Bachelor of Science degree is in information technology, and one of our courses was on programming and algorithms. So I know how they can be written in order to perform particular functions. So, in order for my channel to grow and for more people to get to know what I represent and what I do, and in order for me to have more people joining in on these interactive discussions and lectures and um, presentations, I have to build that number. Okay? Alrighty. So, where was I? I digress. All right. So, white supremacy practically demands the use of color as a means of identification and separation. The fact that the color of the word black, keep in mind, see, because black is only, the word black is only black because we understand that it is a color and we picture that particular color in our mind. Black, for all intents and purposes, could be a word that described green, grass, say. Look at that black grass. And if we had been conditioned and indoctrinated and taught over the generations to understand that that was the color of grass, that's what we would believe. Okay, so that in mind, the fact that the color of the word black was attached to the skins of humans to identify them and differentiate them as deserving oppression is no coincidence. Likewise, there was a deeper damage caused by the attachment of the word black to the bodies of African people who came to the United States in chains. Most people do not associate this deeper damage with the color black because those meanings have no direct associative attachment to skin outside of race's color, at least not consciously. Did you hear that? Most people do not associate this deeper damage with the color black because those meanings have no direct associative attachment to skin outside of race as color, at least not consciously. It is highly doubtful the negative connotations of the color black are considered in any discourse as having any deliberate purpose when used to describe skin. Many do not even question the value in the word black as expressed outside of white supremacy or racist color, or that the negative connotations which are applied stretch beyond the skins of a whole group of oppressed people. Consequently, no one consciously considers the value contained in the color of the word black in the US or the world at large. It is only when we think of whiteness and its seeming connotation with superiority today, we will associate it with the skin based ideology of power over a black body. White supremacy, in reality, nevertheless, has a more insidious set of contexts from which it gleans its power, other than its purposeful use of skin color as a tool. This is why the term value is important in discourses on race as color, whiteness, and the use of the word black to describe black people. Now let's take a look at black. The best way to understand the value in the color of the word, in the color of the word black, hear me, hear me. The best way to understand the value in the color of the word black is by examining the meanings of black in terms of its context and connotations. Remember those three C's: comprehension, context, and connotation. Context. What is this about? What is the focus? Connotation. How did this make me feel? Comprehension. Do I understand why? This is the context, and this is what it's about, and why it makes me feel a certain way. Those three C's are not just random words. They are words to live by when you are living in a racialized culture. And I call it the racialized America. Okay? You have to be able to use those and understand those three terms and what they mean. Okay? Indeed, one will discover that some of the worst expressions imaginable are represented within the synonyms of the word black. The word black. Okay? The value in the color of the word black. Any thesaurus will reveal the undiluted severity of the value contained inside the color, which in turn becomes profound once that color is associated with a human body. Let me read them for you. Dark, dusky, sooty, dirty, dingy, sad, depressing, disastrous, calamitous, sinful, inhuman, fiendish, devilish, monstrous, atrocious, horrible, and many, many more. The cheery opposites are good, hopeful, clean, happy, and optimistic. Therefore, the antithesis of the value of the color black automatically becomes the color white. In stark contrast, white is characterized as a color without hue, at one extreme, at the end of the scale of grays, opposite to black, and the highest value possible. In essence, white, according to the definition, is the achievement of the highest value possible. There should be no doubt about the implications of merit and superiority that this definition illustrates. The sheer weight of the kind of value in the context of race as color should be brought into sharp focus now. All one needs to do is think about the institutions upon which this nation was founded and continues to operate in all areas of human activity, and the word black as expressed within those contexts. For example, the popular term black sheep, so common that it is used by both white and black people today, is characterized as a member of a family or group that is regarded as a disgrace to them, as in the black sheep of the family. Many white people will often rationalize this metaphor for their most egregious family members, of which there is usually at least one per family. Of course, there is no explicit racialized connotation. When you hear the word black sheep, you don't get that feeling that somebody being racist. It doesn't seem racialized. So there's no explicit racialized connotation associated with its use because the value in the color black is already fixed in terms outside of racist color. Therefore, no overt physical reference to one's color is necessary for someone to be considered a disgrace, because the value of the color black itself transcends any skin based reference or ideology that may be applied to the skin of the individual. Is there any wonder why the color black was assigned to the bodies of Africans sold as chattel in the first place? Of all the colors available, not brown, not green, not even purple. Consider that the value expressed in the color white on a white body was meant to live inside of everything that is considered clean, wholesome, pure, happy, and optimistic. And everything that was considered inhuman, fiendish, devilish, monstrous, atrocious, horrible, nefarious, unclean, and impure was meant to live inside of everything that is considered black. When attaching the skins of an entire body of people to these two words, the objective of creating superior and inferior value for people was obvious. It should also be obvious to those for whom it is still a necessary part of maintaining their own superiority by even unconsciously attaching a supreme value to the word white today. The value associated with white may explain why the terms equality and inequity are antithetical to any effort to dismantle racism and white supremacy, which remains the fundamental root ideology from which racism operates. The value of inequity and inequality, using skin based assignments of color, runs very deep, whether viewing through white supremacist lenses or not. Imagine, I want you to pay real close attention to this. Imagine right here. Imagine having to take all you have learned and been conditioned about the colors black and white and the value associated with them over the centuries, and virtually having to wipe them all away, changing everything you've ever thought about the colors black and white and the value associated with them, especially as having nothing to do with an association with skin. If you do not believe removing the literal color assignment of black and white was actually attempted, it was. And that was what became the post-racial colorblind era, when the term white literally disappeared. Remember, one no more the white man anymore. That white just disappeared out the lexicon. It was replaced with the terms normal, neutral, natural, and mainstream. Over 50 years, the black-white binary was hidden by euphemisms, dog whistles, and all behaviors and terms that were considered being politically correct. And of course, it didn't work, which is why we find ourselves where we are today, confused and consistently misled by forces that would just as soon keep you that way. The key to removing the value of whiteness as a thing, as a state of being, would be to remove superiority as the intrinsic metric based on I don't mean simply removing the term white from the lexicon. It was done during the post-racial colorblind era when the term white disappeared. No, I mean metric of value placed on whiteness as a state of being must be removed from race as color and character. Then the system of racism designed for discrimination, denial, and limited apportionment created to sustain that ideology of white supremacy on the basis of, as Lincoln said, the assignment of white to skin color would no longer be necessary to sustain an ideology whose purpose has grown today to devalue human beings of all colors. If we could eliminate superiority as a value metric based on the color white, then perhaps the true value will be realized in being human instead. And that brings to close the presentation, the interactive lecture, and I will go back to my screen. And here I am. So, what'd you think? I want to go to the comments. Okay, I see that there are a few people here. Oh, there's some people that I know from YouTube. Yes, that must mean that I made it onto YouTube. Yay. Hey, I'd like to say hi to these people. Riri. Hi, Charles. How are you? I hope you're still here. Yashita Peach. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Riri, of course. Brenda, hi. I'm just hi. I hope you're still here. I hope you are all still here because I want to open this up to I'm trying to see if there are any other commenters. Okay. Now what I'd like to do. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Riri. Thank you for that. Lisa Love wins. Hi. Yes. Oh, great. That's great. Listen, um, I don't know how to drop a link. If any, maybe Riri or any other YouTube content creator can tell me how to find the link so that I can drop it and then have some people on here with us. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on one second. I'm trying to find the right. Yo, bear with me here. Pretty soon I'll be a. Oh, there it is. Pretty soon I will be a. Hold on. Pretty soon I will be a pro at this. Is this the right one? Panel view one. Panel discussion view. That's the one I want, but I don't know how to put it in here. I don't know how to make it do what it do. Okay, hold on. Let me get rid of that. And how do you add this to screen? I'm trying to hold on one second. I hate to sound like I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing right now. This says solo layout. How do you bring an additional? Okay. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. So I have to find. Okay, let's see. It says hello waves if you tell. Okay, hold on. Hello waves if you tell me what links you want dropped. Oh, okay. It's the link. It's the link that StreamYard, people who use StreamYard, It's the link that is set up for. Here, let me delete this one. Stop screen. Okay. How do you pull up the panel discussion? Hold on a second. I got this one, but I don't have the panel discussion view. New layout. I don't want to add a new layout. I want a panel discussion layout, and I'm having like the most difficult time setting that up. Maybe this is it. I just haven't got anybody on there. Solo. This is the solo layout. Exit solo layout. Okay, I guess this is it. Okay, it's the you won't be disappointed in see your okay. Yeah, I'm trying to drop the StreamYard link. And I don't know how to do that because I don't see it. I don't know where to find it. I'm not sure I have any experience. I know I don't know either. And yeah, because the StreamYard link would allow me to get into like an interactive discussion. And I see when people drop that link. Is this it? Maybe this is it. Hold on. I'm going to drop this. This is actually the. No, that's probably not it. I don't know. What I'm going to do. Okay, so if I'm not able to do any Q&A or discussions on this one, I will bone up on that part for the next one, and then hopefully I'll be able to answer questions and things like that. Unless you want to do it through chat, because I can see YouTube chats. I can see those. If you put a question mark before and after, I can get into discussions with you that way. Okay. All right. Solo layout. Okay, I'm back on that again. I made one of these. I made 2 banners. Hold on. Let me see. You know what? I had some of that Wonder something lipstick on. I always manage to lick the lipstick right off my lips. Even that stuff that's supposed to stay on for 50 million years. Let's go to brand. Okay. I'm going to take that other thing off. Hold on a second. I want to take this off. Yeah, that's better. Anyway, gosh, I really wish I could find the link. Are you using StreamYard on the internet through your browser? Oh, through my browser. I'm using it through my browser. That's what I was wondering. Should I just take that link that is in the browser and put that into the put that into this chat? I'm gonna try it. Okay, I just sent it. I don't know if that's it. Well, but hopefully it is. Let me see. I think I'm in the right thing. Hold on. I did it. Is that it? Okay, good. I hope somebody can come up. Please feel free to come up and have discussions with me about this now. I'm hoping that I'm on the right screen that allows for that. Um, that's the one. If you're using StreamYard, just copy the website address in your browser. It will create the link. I did. I just did that. I'm going to enter it again. And I'd like for you guys on YouTube and on Facebook, if you can see the link, you can give it to other people or whatever, however this thing is going to work. I hope what I'm going to do next is I'm going to try to see if I can start a live on YouTube connecting StreamYard to it like that. I'm going to try that way too to see what happens. Is that it? Okay, click the link. I want to see what happens if I can bring you in because I'm not really even sure how to do that part. Is anybody clicking the link? Clanking the link? Who's clanking the link? Because I can't tell. Oh, invite. Oh, dag. There it is. Yeah. Invite guests. I just did. Now I just need to know how to get people to come up. Is anybody trying to come up? Yep, I found it. I'm learning. People. I'm learning. By the way, this background is a picture I took of my living room because this is my vanity wall. I'm going to get out the way so you can see my stuff. Can you see it? Can you see my degrees and awards and stuff is like that? I got a living room. I used to keep it in my office back where I used to work. My little vanity wall. Oh wait, it says, "I'm sorry, Dr. Cynthia. I'm a chatterbot." That's okay. Please come on. I want to talk. Oh, thank you, Brenda. Thank you. Please come up because I want to test to see if I can even do that, if I can even invite. So I want to see if how that happens, like how people actually come up on it. So I'm not sure how people actually come up. So, oh, thank you, Yoshida. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Yashita. It's pretty. Yashita. If anybody has the link, I want you to, just as a test. You don't even have to hold on 1 second. I have to put you guys on hold for a second. Excuse me, everybody. I had to deal with this. Was something important. I got a call, and then I ignored the call, and they called right back. So that usually means somebody is trying to get in touch with me. I'm hoping that in the future I don't have to do that. I'm gonna maybe turn the phone off. But hold on one second while I take care of a little business I got to do. In fact, no, I'm not going to give you the 30-second timer. If you have to go to work or back to work, or you don't want to participate, um, the link works perfectly fine. So my phone doesn't have an audio option. Oh, the link works fine. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, I wish someone would try to link up with me just so I could see how it looks. Maybe in the future. But so I'm hoping that you got something out of this presentation. I gave this presentation to as I said earlier in the broadcast, to prospective teachers um in a class my cohort teaches, um and at Penn State a couple of years ago, and it was well received. But what it did was, I didn't get many questions because, in fact, I don't think I got any questions because most of the people in the audience were white, and I think some of them might have been intimidated or scared or something because of the nature of what was being said. So, but I mean, even though it was well received, I think that it made a number of people nervous, and they just didn't know what to say because it can be shocking to find out even this little snippet. My book has a whole heck of a lot more stuff, and I define a lot of the euphemisms. Um, you might have heard the term post-racial colorblind era. But the post-racial colorblind era was, in fact, um, way, way, way back, maybe about 50 years ago, and ended upon the installment of Trump. It wasn't when Obama was made president. It was still going on when Obama was made president. Okay. That's when they used primarily race as character for their distinguishing and differentiating of the races because they did not want to use the color white. Okay, that whole idea of colorblind wasn't meant. They it was twisted to make people think that it was we don't see color. We don't. When they said they didn't see color, they really meant they didn't see white. It wasn't that they didn't see black. We already know that. But they didn't see white. White was virtually removed from the lexicon. The word was removed, but the connotation wasn't removed, and whiteness was not removed. They simply used race as character to describe black people. That's when in the 70s they really, really offered up for us and allowed many, many talented black producers, actors, writers, people like that in the industry, in the media, to create movies that depicted us as pimps and hoes and stuff like that. People in jail, convicts, just thugs, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, so that happened. That happened. I mean, there's so much. Next week, what I'm going to do, or next week, maybe. I don't know whether it's going to be next week. See, this was ready because I've had this presentation for 2 years. But I think what I will do is prepare because I am feeling kind of good. Um, do you connect academic and social together, Ruby? Well, no. I tried to stay away from that because that connotes meaning that offers up a great deal more kinds of feelings. Um, and references to words that may take what I'm talking about out of context. So no, I don't include the spiritual. And then too, while being a spiritual person, and I say spiritual as opposed to religious, being a spiritual person, and I'm not talking about any new age stuff and all that kind of with the beads and the chakras and stuff like that. Um, with StreamYard, the cool thing is that the web address that you copied and pasted in here, it works from anywhere. Any platform can join without jumping through the hoops, so it's really easy. Okay, I did. I did use it. I did throw it in. This is it. Let me, I did copy it. This is the link. And I'm hoping that someone will come up and so we can talk. Just like if we were in a classroom. That's what I want. I want the classroom environment to prevail where okay, I'm just about finished doing this thing. I hate to my mind is on a couple of things. Get I'm getting older now. So I'm a senior now. I'll be 70 in December. Boy, I'd relish that. I really look forward to I'm actually looking forward to getting older and older and older. I am. But it makes my multitasking skills a little it leaves them wanting. Um Now in terms of spiritual, I haven't really gotten into like the chakras and stuff like that, but I am very interested in people who have the different kinds of I call it second sight, the clairs and the clair sentient, the clairvoyances and things like that. The different clairs because there are a few. I'm very interested in that. Not to say that I am able to do it, but I'm interested in people who do. Yes. Um, okay. Let me go back to solo because I don't see anybody. But okay. I'm gonna if there are no questions, if there are no questions, yes, I'm spiritual but not religious. If there are no questions or no one wants to come up and discuss the information that was presented, it's like 5 or 6. It's like 5 or 6, right? I'm not sure what you mean, Riri. You might have to be a little more specific. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, I see how that works. I used to wonder how they clicked. Okay, I'm learning so much on this thing. I am learning so much on the thing. Now I know how the different comments get placed onto the screen. Oh, so interesting. StreamYard is good. I actually got one of their plans because I wanted to make use of more of the um, features that they offer. Um, their background, this green screen thing is not quite as good. But then again, I'm doing a whole hell of a lot of moving around and stuff, so that kind of messes it up. But 5:47 p. What time is it? It is. It's 5:47. Yes, it is. Dang. Have I been on this thing that long? Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you said five. Yeah, there are 5. There are about 5, I think 5 or 6. Yeah. clairvoyant, clairaudio, clairsentient. Hold on again. I can't. No, I can't. Because I know that's my son and his crazy self. He's a crazy nut. That's my other son. I have two sons. One is going to be 48. One's going to be 38. And my daughter's going to be 46. My daughter will be 46 next year, I think. God, I'm getting old. Hmm. Okay. Listen. Um. Oh, I'm right, and it's probably true what you just said. Feeling uncomfortable, exactly how white people need to feel. I'm going to put that up there. Yes. Yeah. Until they ask questions of themselves that we need. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And you know what? You know what, Lisa? See, it's so much deeper than on an individual level. Um, this is why I try to refrain from making things personal and individual. Ah, okay. Yep. So this was the first attempt at presenting a live, interactive video lecture and presentation. I'm hoping that in the future, we'll get more people willing to come aboard and to actually engage after. It's okay. You can talk about stuff. If you don't understand, that's quite all right because I'll repeat it. I have no problems repeating, I have no problems clarifying. I hope that you got as much out of this as I got in presenting it to you because my goal, my mission is to educate. This is what I do. This is what I'm here for now. I put up the old IT stuff, and my mission now is to educate us. And most especially, ah, oh my goodness, I got my first person. Oh, Lisa, is that Lisa? Lisa? Hi. Hi, Lisa. How are you? I'm so happy to see you. Now I know it works. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Can you hear me? I can hear you. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. Now I know that chat works. I'm good to go. Okay. And thank you for thank you Yashita for the compliment. Okay, let me put you back up. Okay. Add to Yes, I can.
Well, I tried to figure out the audio settings, so I must have done something right. Sorry, I'm not really
Yeah, I can see you.
camera
I
ready
can see
today.
you
I'm
and
in
hear you
bed. I've been in
now.
bed sick. Okay,
Oh
good.
yeah, I pretty much spend most of my time in bed. Now why is my
I'm
oh
battling a
now
flare up of
Amina's
lupus, so
calling me.
now you know it works. It works great.
Yeah, it does. It does. Thank you so much. Now but I do have to get off here now because I'm starting to get a whole
Okay, no
number of
problem.
calls. Apparently on Sunday, um, there was a chemical spill in my neck of the woods, and it has affected the water. And so there have been updates
Oh
about it.
wow.
And yeah, I'm hoping that I will be able to.
I'm a
Okay,
water
it must
protector,
be
Dr.
something.
Smith, so
Yeah,
I really hope that
something.
that's not something too dangerous there.
Yeah, and a lot of people are calling me now.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and hang up now. Good
Yeah, a
luck with
lot of
that. I
people.
hope you work out the things with the water
Okay.
there. I look forward to next time.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Bye bye. And thank you for coming up. Now I know how it works. Bye bye now. And bye to everybody. Until next time, the doctor is in.